They were a man or a woman after God's own heart. When the team come, I want to tell you a story about my grandma. My grandma is like one of those old crazy Christians. She's crazy. And I think she met Cheryl, and within 5 minutes she was asking Cheryl about her testimony and grilling Cheryl 100 questions on the Holy Spirit and what her stance was and how well she knew the Bible and what her exegesis of this certain passage was, and David Jeremiah and the end of times and all of that stuff. Grandma's crazy. We grew up in this family where not everything was perfect, but my grandma was always the rock. She was always the faith woman. She was always praying. If you ever needed prayer, you called her or texted her when she figured out how to use a mobile phone and gave her your prayer request, and she would pray. I'm so grateful for who she is, and I believe that I'm doing what I am today. And part of the reason I'm the man that I am is because of her and her example and her prayers and her influence. I grew up, she took me to church from an early age. I was in church and I had no say about it. Didn't want to be there some mornings, I wanted to sleep in or play Nintendo, but my nan, she made sure that I had no choice. I was in the house of God every Sunday. And from an early age, I could just remember like falling asleep under the pews and like drawing on the church pamphlets and all of that stuff, just running amok, being a Christian. I remember so often in worship looking up at my grandma, and she was standing there with tears running down her face. And at a young age, I would look at her. Every week she would do it. Halfway through worship, tears running down, and I used to think, you were so weird. You're crazy. Like I said, you were crazy, and you are crazy. Look at these. What are you doing? You're so emotional. I thought she was weird. I didn't get it then, but I get it now. And I made a decision in my life that I want to be like my grandma. If I do anything in life, I want to be at that point. I want to be at that stage. I want to get to that maturity. We're at a Sunday morning. We turn up for the 100th service in a row. Turn up year in, year out, and still every single Sunday, raise my hands and tears flood down my face because I know what it is that I'm singing. Because it's changed my life. Because I'm not who I once was. Because God has changed everything. That He has come into those broken places. He's come into my vulnerability and He's made something of it. He's breathed on it. He's brought it to life. It's by the grace of God that I'm standing here again in worship. I want to be like my grandma. Didn't get it then, but I get it now. And that's greatness to me. Matthew 6 verse 6. Church, this is for us. Why don't we stand to our feet?